When you're scrolling through a sea of pre-built gaming rigs, the first thing that hits you is the fear of picking something that looks great on paper but turns out to be a mismatch for your actual setup. Maybe you've spent hours reading spec sheets, but you still wonder, will this machine actually run the titles I love at the settings I want? Will it sit comfortably in my cramped desk space? And most importantly, am I getting enough bang for the buck or just another overpromised box? Those are the questions I try to answer in every review, because the last thing you need is another dusty desktop collecting dust. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The iBUYPOWER Y40 Pro is positioned as a high-end, ready-to-play rig, but let's peel back the layers and see what that really means once you plug it in and fire up a game. First off, the everyday experience. I set this machine up in a modest 12-inch gaming desk beside a 27-inch 144Hz monitor, the kind of space many of us share with a work-from-home setup. The case is a sleek black chassis with a modest amount of RGB lighting, enough to give it that gamer vibe without turning the whole room into a disco. It fits the desk without any awkward overhang, and the cable management inside the case is decent enough that you don't have a spaghetti mess to untangle later. Boot time is impressively quick, thanks to the 2TB NVMe SSD. I was able to launch Windows, get through the initial updates, and jump straight into a game like Cyberpunk 2077 in under 30 seconds. That instant feel is something you only get with a fast NVMe drive paired with a modern motherboard, and it translates into less waiting and more playing. Now, the real test is how it handles modern games at high settings. I ran a few recent titles: Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Elden Ring, and the ever-demanding Starfield on a 1440p monitor with the graphics set to Ultra. The RTX 5070 Ti kept frame rates solidly above 60 frames per second in most scenes, and even when the action got hectic, the dips were brief and didn't feel like a performance hit. The 16GB of VRAM gave the GPU enough breathing room for texture-heavy games, while the 32GB of DDR5 RAM ensured that multitasking, like having Discord, a web browser, and a streaming overlay open, never caused stutter. In short, for someone who wants to game at high resolutions without sacrificing smoothness, this rig delivers on the promise. But the Y40 Pro isn't just for gaming. I also tried it for a bit of content creation, which is where the NVIDIA Studio badge comes into play. Using Adobe Premiere Pro to edit a 10-minute 4K clip, the rendering times were noticeably faster than on my older desktop with an older RTX card. The combination of the Ryzen 9 7900X and the RTX 5070 Ti means you get both strong CPU cores for encoding and a GPU that can accelerate effects. If you're a streamer who wants to run OBS, capture gameplay, and maybe dabble in light video editing, the machine holds its own without forcing you to lower your stream quality. Who should consider buying this? If you're a serious gamer who plays the latest releases at high settings, especially on 1440p or even 4K, the Y40 Pro gives you a balanced package where neither the CPU nor the GPU is a bottleneck. It also makes sense for creators who need a capable workstation but don't want to build a custom PC from scratch. The included keyboard and mouse are decent entry-level peripherals, which is handy if you're starting fresh and don't already own a gaming set. On the flip side, there are clear reasons to walk away. First, price. This system lands in a premium bracket, and you'll find that buying the components separately and building yourself could shave a few $100s off the total, provided you're comfortable assembling a PC. Second, the case design, while attractive, isn't the most airflow-friendly. Under sustained heavy loads, the fans ramp up and can become audible, especially if your desk is right next to the PC. If you need a whisper-quiet environment for recording voiceovers or you simply dislike any fan noise, you might want to look at a model with a larger chassis and more robust cooling solutions. Lastly, upgradability is a bit limited by the proprietary layout. While you can add more storage, swapping out the GPU later could be a tighter fit because of the case dimensions. Practical strengths are easy to point out. The 2TB NVMe drive gives you ample room for games, apps, and a decent media library without needing an external drive right away. The 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM isn't just a number, it actually shows up in smoother load times when switching between a game and a browser tab full of research articles. The RTX 5070 Ti's ray tracing capabilities are present but not overkill for most gamers, offering a sweet spot between raw raster performance and visual fidelity. And the Ryzen 9 7900X provides 11 cores, which means the system can handle background tasks like streaming, encoding, and even running a few virtual machines without dropping frames. On the